Assalamualaikum dan selamat datang kepada semua ke program Bicara Tokoh Anjuran Kursi Raja-Raja Melayu dan Pita dengan Dr. Rais Saniman, seorang pakar ekonomi yang tidak asing lagi. Topik yang akan kita bicarakan pada pagi ini adalah dasar ekonomi baru. Sebelum itu, saya akan membaca disclaimer dulu. Maklumat yang disampaikan dalam program siaran langsung ini adalah bagi tujuan memperbudayakan ilmu sahaja. Ianya hanyalah pendapat dan komen peribadi panel jemputan dan bukan pendirian rasmi universiti. Pihak universiti tidak bertanggungjawab mengenai komen dan pendapat yang dikeluarkan atau disampaikan. Sebelum kita mulakan bicara ya, Dr. Rais. Assalamualaikum, apa khabar?
Alhamdulillah.
Okey, sebelum itu saya akan membaca sedikit pengenalan mengenai dasar ekonomi baru. Dasar ekonomi baru ataupun DEB sebagai singkatannya merupakan satu program sosio-ekonomi di Malaysia yang diperkenalkan dalam rancangan Malaysia kedua iaitu pada tahun 1970 ke 1990 oleh Perdana Menteri Malaysia pada ketika itu Tun Abdul Razak. Matlamat tersurat dasar ekonomi baru adalah untuk mencapai perpaduan negara dan integrasi nasional. Betul, Doktor?
Betul.
Dan ia adalah digubal dalam konteks rampang dua mata, iaitu mengurangkan dan akhirnya membasmi kemiskinan dengan meningkatkan pendapatan dan menambah peluang-peluang pekerjaan untuk semua rakyat Malaysia tanpa mengira kaum. Betul, Doktor?
Betul.
Dan kedua, mempercepatkan proses penyusunan semula ekonomi Malaysia untuk memperbetulkan ketidakseimbangan ekonomi supaya dapat mengurang dan seterusnya menghapuskan pengenalan kaum mengikut fungsi ekonomi. Seperti yang saya baca pengenalan ni, kita akan terus lepas ini bersoal jawab dengan Dr. Rais yang merupakan salah seorang penggubal dasar ekonomi Melayu kita. Doktor, boleh kita terus untuk ni ya? Boleh doktor terangkan tak terangkan atas dasar apakah DEB ini diperkenalkan dan apakah kepentingannya pada masyarakat dan negara?
InsyaAllah. Assalamualaikum, Profesor. Terlebih dahulu saya nak merakamkan ribuan terima kasih sudi menjemput saya kemari bersama-sama tukar fikiran berkenaan dengan isu yang serius ini. Saya nak merakamkan terima kasih saya kepada Profesor Dr. Zainal Kling dan Profesor Syam dan juga Saudara Jamaluddin Sulaiman, Ketua Jabatan Perkhidmatan Perpustakaan, Profesor Madya, yourself.
Thank you.
Dan barisan pengurusan universiti, para viewers dan saudara-saudari sekalian yang saya hormati, termasuk kawan baik saya, Dr. Hasan, berpuluh tahun dengan dia, daripada UPM dulu. Izinkan saya to put on record lah. This is a very serious matter, so it must be very carefully thought through before you can say anything. So, tapi presentation saya pagi ini ialah personal opinion, personal views, doesn't involve any institution di Norway ataupun di sini. Ini personal view saya based on facts. Irrespective of political leaning or anything. Saya berasa bangga kerana dapat berada di sini pada pagi ini. Saya pernah berada dalam lembaga pengarah MARA lebih pada 5 tahun, 6 tahun MARA, dan beberapa institusi lain-lain yang berkenaan dengan pembangunan bangsa Melayu dan negara. Tapi saya telah bertugas dan berdiam di France lama, dekat 10 tahun, dan sekarang di Norway. walau bagaimanapun saya tetap budak kampung dari Kampung Separap, Batu Pahat, Parit Sulong yang pergi ke sekolah kaki ayam. Ya. Saya akan terus memperjuangkan hak asasi bangsa Melayu tanpa menafikan hak asasi bangsa lain di Malaysia sehingga ke akhir hayat. Ya. Terlebih dahulu saya mohon minta maaf sekiranya ada terlajak kalau cakap manalah tahu ya. So I ask for your forgiveness before I start going forward. Terima kasih, Prof.
Boleh Doktor terangkan?
Ya.
Dasar.
Ya, dasar ekonomi ya. Saya punya line of presentation sebelum itu ialah why was the NEP introduced? Ya, itu soalan you tadi itu.
Yes.
Lepas itu saya nak terangkan berkenaan implementasinya.
Correct.
Lepas itu impact-nya
Correct.
pada masyarakat dan kepada orang Melayu, dan the failures of the NEP. Yeah, why the NEP failed? Bukan fail, but not fully implemented.
Not fully
Yeah,
successful.
yang last kali the future relevant of the NEP. Yeah.
Yes.
Soalan you tadi itu.
Okay. Next.
Itu ni. This is the great man, arwah Tun Razak. He was. It was the NEP was his vision to build. The NEP was his vision and instrument to rebuild Malaysian national unity in diversity. That was his main vision after the civil unrest, racial civil unrest in 1969. Yeah. So that was the main thing, the overall strategy to Razak, vision here, to rebuild the society so that we are reunited. Yeah. Itu sebabnya so the rest are the contents of his vision. And the NEP was his the NEP itu in a nutshell, ya.
Next.
Strategi dia tu inclusive political system. That bawah national unity, bawah itu political inclusive political system termasuk all the political parties, UMNO, MCA, MIC dan semuanya. That is one. Okay. Yang keduanya ialah inclusive socio-economic system for all Malaysians. Nice. Itulah dasar ekonomi baru. Ya. Yeah? Dan dasar ekonomi baru itu, bawah itu dia punya dua sistem dia, to reduce poverty. I repeat here, to reduce poverty irrespective of race. I emphasize, to reduce irrespective of race. Maknanya semua orang Malaysia yang miskin akan diangkat. This is, to this great man, is one of the first policies, inclusive policies in the world, on inclusive in the world for all citizens. It's not only for Malays. Kebanyakan orang kata the NEP is for Malays. It's not true. This is an inclusive policy for all Malaysians. Yeah, that's one. Yang keduanya, restructuring. Sebenarnya, the restructuring of the society is to create a new Malaysian society so that everybody is equal.
So daripada situ pun, daripada awal lagi, Tun Abdul Razak, you're talking about Malaysian for Malaysian. I mean, everybody is equal.
Everybody. The NEP was for everybody. It was portrayed as anti-others and pro-Malay, which is factually according to the facts. You all can examine the facts for the last 60 years that this is not true. Yeah, yeah. Yang keduanya, next ya, nombor duanya, in terms of the restructuring of society itu, the Malays Bumiputra community was asking nothing more than their proportionate share of the economic cake without taking the share of the non-Malay portion.
Okay.
Yeah, this you must be very clear.
Very clear.
We want to raise the status of the Malays without taking yang dah dipunyai oleh bangsa lain, kaum lain. Okay. Ya, harta mereka, pendapatan mereka, pekerjaan mereka, we don't touch. We want to raise without touching. Gitu, ya. That's very important, because this is not explained properly. The NEP got a bad name because of that. Yang ketiganya, is to raise everybody according to the increments, the additional increments. Yeah, masih saya bagi example, ya. Misalnya GDP 100 tahun 90, ya, 91 GDP 120. We want to redistribute not 120. We want to distribute only the 20 portion, the increment, the additional. Yang lebih tu, yang 20 marginal tu. Not yang 100 tu, yang 100 tu sudah dipunyai oleh bangsa-bangsa lain. Melayu, bangsa lain semua. Itu kita touch. We want to touch the additional to redistribute so that the ratio is changed in favor of the poor. Yeah, itu ya. This is very important. Dan apa keadaan kedudukan ekonomi Bumiputra masa itu 1969, ya. The inequality against the Malays was one of the worst in the world. I repeat, it was one of the worst. Cutting along racial line, cutting along regional line, cultural line, religious line. So, itu formula yang akan meletupkan negeri ini. Dan jadi tahun 1969 selepas pilihan raya di negara ini, 1969, it blew up, you see. So the formula was there. So because it was so bad, we wanted to change that system lah after the the next one is what?
On next the one. Poverty and equality.
Itu dah, I have touched on that one. Next one, please. National unity and diversity. Yes, next one. You see, because the position, look at that, because the position of the Malays, they were the poorest in the society. Keduanya, they were marginalized, pushed aside. Di kampung-kampung, macam kampung saya di Sulong apa semua, pushed aside. Yang ketiganya, political power declining, pasal kita kalah election, betul. Keempat, we were divided politically, dan the Malays were the majority in the population, but they were down. Yeah. Next, please. Now, this we must understand very clearly, because the Malays were the majority, until now they are the majority, the problems of poverty and inequality is a national problem, not a Malay problem. In any country in the world, di mana-mana negara you pergi, the problem of the majority is the national problem. So any government that is ruling must address this problem as a national policy. Bukan problem masalah orang Melayu, masalah negara. Because the problem of the majority. Yeah, next please. Because we have political equality, all Malaysians are equal. One vote each. Si Sivam satu vote, si Achong satu vote, you satu vote. We are all equal. Bukan you ada 2 vote. Bukan ada, bukan. Dia satu, semua satu, equal. Tetapi dalam bidang ekonomi, they are Chinese number 1, India number 2, Malaysia number 3. Ya, number 3. Kalau you jumlahkan tu, political equality and economic inequality, we are third class. They are first class, Indian second class, kita kelas 3 di negeri sendiri. Ya, okay, next please. So the DEB is, itulah tadi kita katakan tadi, eradication of poverty irrespective of race dan restructuring of the Malaysian society. Next please. And then same thing. The NEP, to emphasize again, is non-discriminatory. Yeah. You tengok saya cakap tadi, is non-discriminatory for all Malaysians, because Arwah Tun Razak, the great man, wanted to unite back all the rest society selepas 1969 to reunite our society. Next, please. Ini 2 documents, the DEB is explained fully in these 2 documents, 1971 to 1975, Malaysia's second Malaysia Plan, and midterm review of the second Malaysia Plan. Please. Next, please. Then you see another one of the strategy of the NEP, to implement these 2 documents, is to implement in the context of an expanding cake. Expanding GDP. Kalau benda tu tak expand, there is not enough resources. Tak ada additional je nak kita distribute. So that's very important. And we projected at that time economic growth of 6.3%, which was one of the highest in the world. Yeah. Next, please. And I said, yang saya jelaskan tadi itu, to redistribute the increments. Kita tidak ambil hak asasi orang lain. Yeah, we don't touch. There was no talk of nationalization. Di negeri macam di Indonesia, lepas independence Soekarno, dia buat nationalization. Kita tak ada. Orang kata no nationalization. Say we don't touch 1 cent of the other side. Kalau kita nak pun, kita beli in the market. Macam Saim Dabi. Macam tu, ada 2-3 lagi. Saya ingat masa di office Saim Dabi itu, we buy. We raided the London money market masa tu kan. But we tak ada nationalize. Satu lagi, the Malays to participate in the economy, maknanya we have to work hard to earn our living, to earn our asset. It's not going to be subsidy to the Malays. No subsidy. Macam di Australia, macam di New Zealand, dia bagi subsidi kepada Maori, pada Aborigines. Adalah kata kita Aborigines. But I'm just giving an example. Maknanya there is, masa kita bincang tu, no subsidy for the Malays. They must work harder than other races in order to catch up. When you are number 2, you cannot work slower than the number 1. You must work harder and run higher than number 1. Sampailah sekarang. If the Malays want to catch up, they must work harder. There's no 2 other ways. You see? Next, please. Ni bos saya ni, dia pun dah meninggal. Negeri kita mengucap terima kasih kepada dia, beri Tan Sri Ship, ya, semua. Dia ni lah intellectual architect of the NEP.
Tan Sri Just
Tan Sri Just Fallon, ya. Tuan Razak, vision itu national unity to unite politically and economically. Politically itu banyak orang politik lah namanya. Tan Sri Ghazali Shafi sebelah sini. Dan di sebelah sini dialah yang ketua dia ni advisor to Tun Arwah Tun Razak di APU dan dia juga director Michelson Institute Norway. Saya pun sekarang misi di sana. Ini dia dapat Tan Sri Shape tu sebelah kiri tu. You tengok gambar tu. Next slide please. Next slide. Ya, yang sebelah kiri tu dia dapat Tan Sri recommended by Pak Lah kita, but delivered by Datuk Razak. Prime Minister. Ya, yang sebelah kanan tu the office Tun Ghazali Shafi, because Tun Ghazali Shafi was the minister in charge of national unity. Yeah, so at that time I was a young ciku there, mengikut di sana sini. Next please. You kata I'm one of the Penggubal. It's very nice. Terima kasih lah banyak ya. But I was not the one. The one was Tun Razak dan juga Tan Sri Fallon, Tun Ghazali Shafi, Samsudin, Kadir Samsudin. Yeah, these were the key people. Dan General Ibrahim Tun Ibrahim. And this in the list were some of those key people who were involved in the NEP. It's not a one-man job. It was not to say that I'm the father. That is not true. Yes. Factually, it's not true. It's a teamwork. Teamwork. Team. These were all motivated. We have lost some of them. The great Dr. Ismail. Ismail, a blind economist. I don't know whether dari Kelantan. One of the most brilliant economists I had the pleasure of working. Zainal Aznam, Dr. Zainal Aznam. Dia jadi professor di Oxford University. These were the key people, one of the key intellectuals. Dan Sri Kamal Saleh mesti ada lagi sama kita. He's director of MIR sekarang. Yes. These are the top guns lah. Next please. This is very important ya. You see after selepas perusahaan kaum tu, we were in the middle of developing a new 5-year plan. Yeah, new 5-year plan. The first 5-year plan dah tamat.
Itu rancangan Malaysia pertama.
Rancangan Malaysia pertama 5 tahun ya.
5 tahun.
5-year plan. So there were 2 schools of competing thoughts. Satu was the EPU school. Bawah Prime Minister Razak lah. EPU school. The other one was the DNU school, Department of National Unity School, headed by Tan Sri Ghazali masa itu. You see, the EPU school say, we must continue. We carry on as usual, like the first Malaysia plan. Tapi the second school, headed by Tan Sri Fallon apa semua lah, Kadir apa semua, mengatakan, look, as a result of that, we have
this problem.
The current problem. This riot, Malays are left behind in the development of the country. The Malays were left out completely, Yeah. Orang Melayu pun yang di Kampung Baru masa itu, saya di Kampung Baru, merotok lah kata orang Johor. Sebab after independence, we get nothing. We lost everything. We give Article 157, kita bagi citizenship kepada orang baru. Macam-macam lah, dia orang semua dapat equal. Sebab itu kita daripada bangsa Melayu jadi kaum Melayu. That's how we were reduced. Daripada bangsa. So very unhappy. So we say we have to change. So we recommended the DEB lah, as defined today, so that the Malays have equal opportunity to be equal to the other races, so that can come up.
They raise up.
Raise the standard of living, etc. apa semua lah. Itu yang dah 30% commercial industrials, poverty eradication, apa semua tu. So bergaduh besar. Sampai sekarang pun ada lagi, tapi slow down lah. Sampai sekarang pun dia orang tak setuju benda ni. Tapi the data will show you after 60 years that it was the right policy for Malaysia. The theory was right. Tapi implementasinya tidak begitu sukses. Okay, next one please. DEB ni bukan kita plug of thin air tau. Malam mengigau pagi kita buat DEB. It is based on solid legal and moral foundation. Federal Constitution, Article 153, rukun negara, consistent, and all these perlembagaan kita semua is consistent with the United Nations Charter, Social Charter, ILO Charter for Equal Employment Opportunities. So these are solid legal and moral foundation. The strategy is of course for Malays to participate. Bukan duduk saja dapat subsidi. Macam di Australia kan. We have to work.
The Malay have to work hard.
Harder.
Get what they want.
They have to work harder.
Than others.
Next please. Ini dah buku Tan Sri Falen dalam bahasa kita dan dalam bahasa Inggeris. These two books bukan kita nak cakap but I'll just give
but it's a good knowledge book.
The original six papers that form the DEB, the asas DEB itu, underpin the DEB are only in this book. You cannot get this in the EPU or in the government of Malaysia or anywhere or any other source except in this book. If you want to know exactly the foundation of the NEP, you have to look into this book, appendices A to G. Di situ the original papers setengah ni ada pada saya, setengah tak tahu di Norway tapi kita we'll take care of that later lah. So next please. Itulah tadi saya kata main points about the book is the original document. Next please. Apa Dr. Mahathir kata regarding NEP? It is compulsory. Masa Dr. Mahathir yang launch buku ni. Diorganised oleh Datuk Mukhris. A good man, very good man, Datuk Mukhris. Bila saya balik daripada Norway kemari, dia yang tolong saya to get my feedback on the ground here, to organize, to publish this book semua. So the launch of Dr. Mahathir, dia kata it is compulsory reading for all concerned Malaysians to make Malaysia national unity again. Okay, next please. Ini you see those two books heavy. Dekat 200, 300 buku kan. Dengan mathematics, formula apa semua. Orang baca ada kawan saya baik dia sekarang. Tak nak mention dia. Rais, aku baca ni aku buang. Okay. So, jadi kita buat sinopsis ni, ada di sini. Kita dah buat sinopsis keluar pagi tadi. Dr. Fauzi dan anak dia Encik Munzir. So we will distribute this to you. I leave to the organizers, and it's up to you. But this will give the gist, the intipati buku ni, buku Tan Sri Falen tu. Lepas baca itu, kalau ada minat nak masuk dalam, then you go to the original.
So para viewers kita yang di depan ni telah diberi satu sinopsis buku seperti yang dinyatakan oleh doktor.
Yeah.
I think everybody have one
Yes.
in front of us.
Itu pulang pada organizer lah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, next
Okay,
please.
next.
Tapi in this book, buku Tan Sri ni, saya nak bagi credit also to kepada Professor Parkinson. Because there are three of us. Saya tengok buku sinopsis ni bukan? Si Tan Sri Falen,
Okay.
Jack Parkinson. Jack Parkinson masa itu
Okay.
was the Dean of the Faculty of Economics, Nottingham University. Dan saya bawa back dia orang apa semua.
Dr. Rais is the third author.
Kami bertiga, we were at the OECD in Paris. Dekat 10 tahun di sana. This book was done in Paris. Ulang-alik lah, Paris, Norway dan sini lah. Yeah. So Parkinson was very keen, very good economist, one of the good economists. Yeah. So in this book, you will see this is the full formula of the NEP. You know, 7 of them, 7 trusts, including saya tak mention tadi, world-class education system. World class. To bring up the Malays on par with the non-Malays. Dulu kita sekolah sampai darjah 3 di Johor, kan?
Betul.
Pagi sekolah pagi, sekolah Melayu, tengah hari, petang sekolah agama, kan? Sampai pukul 3, lepas tu jadi driver ataupun jaga kebun, kan? So we want to change that system into a world-class system to compete on par with not only here but internationally. Yeah.
Saya rasa kalau Dr. Parkinson ada, saya salah seorang daripada the recipients of the DEB sebab saya belajar sampai keluar negara. Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Next one, please. Employment in the private sector. You see, one of the problems yang kita hadapi dulu dan sekarang, employment in the private sector. Private sector ni does not follow the format of the NEP. 80% of the jobs in the country are in the private sector. 20% di kerajaan, di khazanah apa semua, kan? 80% employment, kan? Jadi private sector ni orang Melayu tak dapat masuk because the private sector discriminated against Malays sampai sekarang. Ya. Cucu saya graduate daripada Mara, mechanical engineer, 3 tahun sampai sekarang tak dapat kerja. Jadi saya bila balik tengok ini, darah naik balik lah. Lampau. Tidak. The private sector is a new colonial succeeding the British. This we have to break. The recommendation of our recommendation, these people yang buat kajian, Snodgrass University, Professor di Yale University, Falen Rais itu, yang 3 itu CMI, itu institute kita di Norway, Melovich, World Bank Study, satu lagi itu Dr. Muhammad, Economic Advisor pada PM sekarang, dan Lian Muhammad, ya. All the international studies from that time to now confirm the discrimination against Malay labor in the private sector. So we recommended you should make the private sector an equal opportunity employer. Seperti di UK atau di France ataupun di US. Equal opportunity employer. Kita tak, masa itu kita tak recommend, kita tak mengesyorkan pass a law. Tapi kalau dah 60 tahun macam itu, you have to pass a law to make it criminal offence who violate discrimination in the private sector. Macam di UK, macam di France, if you can take them, you can sue them, you can sue the employer, you don't get compensation. Yeah. So this one, ini satu daripada pesanan saya punya di sinilah. You have to take up this seriously. Yeah. Next one, please. Ini study kita, kajian kita berkenaan dengan discrimination in the Malaysian private sector. We did this in 19, I lupa dah. Dah dekat 10-15 tahun lepas. Next
Okey,
please.
okey doktor.
Yeah.
Sebelum slide seterusnya. Slide seterusnya sebenarnya lebih kepada soalan saya yang kedua.
Okay, yeah.
Okey, slide seterusnya ni boleh doktor kongsikan bagaimana dasar ini diimplementasikan dan adakah tentangan semasa digubal dan selepas digubal dasar ini?
Okay. Yang pertama, can you repeat the sentence?
The first is bagaimana dasar ini diimplementasikan?
Itu saya ada satu section nanti.
Inilah slide seterusnya.
Yeah. The next one please.
Okay.
Implementasinya ya.
Yes, yes.
The implementation ni, so you see banyak orang kata DEB failure lah gitu gini. In my personal humble view, the theory of development, the NEP theory of development is a correct theory. Correct theory for this country.
Okay.
Yeah. And later subsequently prescribed internationally by the UN, by the EU, by most of the countries.
Okay.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Bukanlah originate dari sini,
Okay.
but that type of policy, growth with equity, equitable growth,
Okay.
pro-poor growth, nama macam-macam lah, but it's the same.
It is-
Balanced growth or growth and
As well
bring
as
up,
it.
yeah, simultaneously.
Okay.
Bukan growth first and distribute later.
Okay.
The growth first, distribute later tu is basically a new liberal economic theory and policy promoted by Washington DC. This is the American punya
Style lah, American
style.
style.
Dia nak sistem dia macam dia punya sistem.
Okay.
Sistem yang kita ikut ni, we call it DNU system di sini, or the NEPDB, is recommended by the UN. That means you must bring both up simultaneously.
Political and economic.
Political to, it says carry on, but economically, they must be bring up together. Inilah sistem yang dilaksanakan di Nordic countries, di Scandinavia, as you said, bukan itu, di Nordic countries, di France, di Holland, di mana-mana pun. Yeah. So we were on the right track.
Okay.
So these two are fighting until today, sampai sekarang. Tapi tidak begitu bising sangatlah.
Ya. Okey doktor, kita perlu berehat seketika untuk bagi laluan kepada pesanan penaja. Seterusnya kita ada pesanan atau iklan. MyKM Portal merupakan perkhidmatan yang berkonsepkan personalisation di mana pengguna boleh mendapat maklumat bahan rujukan secara terus mengikut bidang masing-masing. Semua rujukan ini telah diintegrasikan dengan sistem utama di perpustakaan bagi memudahkan warga universiti mengakses perkhidmatan perpustakaan secara setempat. MyAKM juga menyediakan platform untuk pengguna perpustakaan memuat naik dokumen masing-masing ke dalam public repository. Perkongsian pengetahuan ini penting agar warga universiti berkongsi pengetahuan mereka kepada masyarakat. Oleh itu, jom kita gunakan MyKM Portal dan tingkatkan pengetahuan dalam subjek pengkhususan mengikut bidang anda. Untuk mengakses MyKM Portal, layari http://myKM.uitm.edu.my. Ini iklan. Kita ada sistem repository juga di universiti kita. Okey, jika para viewer mempunyai soalan, boleh menaip di ruang komen sekarang. InsyaAllah jika ada kesempatan kami akan yang berbahagia Dr. Rais akan menjawab soalan-soalan dari viewers kita. Kita live sekarang, Doktor.
Saya
So
cubalah,
any question, please put forward.
Saya cubalah insyaAllah. Kalau boleh saya jawab. Kalau tak boleh saya tidak.
Okey, kita kembali sekali lagi dalam program Bicara Tokoh bersama yang berbahagia Dr. Rais Saniman. Doktor, selalu doktor sekarang berada di Norway.
Ya.
Sekali-sekala balik ke Malaysia.
Ulang-alik.
Ulang-alik.
Ya.
Okey. Bagaimana doktor rasa? Adakah doktor dapat nampak impak DEB ni pada negara kita dan rakyat kita sekarang?
Ya. Impact di DEB ini kita mengikut dia punya susunan dari mula tadi kan.
Ya.
Dari segi membasmikan kemiskinan, I think it is a success. Masa kita start dulu kan 1969 dan earlier masa
Yes.
saya pergi sekolah kaki ayam apa semua.
Betul.
Sungai Pagi Sulong apa semua kan. Poverty was about 50% of the negara kita.
Okay.
That high, you know.
Okay.
Malays were all. Dan sekarang tak tahulah 1.3% ke apa, depending on the definition.
Yes.
Definition baru ni naik balik sedikit. But
Yes.
more realistic, saya setuju kan itu. So dari segi membasmi kemiskinan, saya rasa sukses.
Okay.
80% sukses ke begitu. Itu yang kedua. Restructuring of society pun ada juga suksesnya.
Okay.
Berkenaan dengan shareholding of Malays dari 1.3% sampai dekat 20%. Sekarang tu balik gitu ya. Dari segi imbalance employment, yang itu diskriminasi against orang Melayu in the private sector, saya kata total failure. That is bad.
Itu perlu kita enhancekan lagi.
Itu kita kena kaji semula dan kita dasar kita yang baru berkenaan employment tidak kita ketuk kepala dia. Kita kena bagi incentives supaya dia menggunakan employment Malay to employ. Give incentives, tax incentives, market incentives, macam lah buat. And also passes the law. Kalau dah bagi ini semua ni, kalau dia tak buat, then you can take. Macam si baru-baru ni sungai tu kan, yang air
cemar di Selangor gitu.
Jadi dia melanggar undang-undang. It is the law must take care of that. Itu dari segi itu. Yang satu lagi ni berkenaan dengan restructuring of society dari segi education, education saya rasa sukses. Macam UiTM semua kebanyakan, kalau tak ada UiTM, the Malays will not be in the private sector. Most of us are graduate from this UKM misalnya kan. So saya rasa dalam bidang education, pelajaran semua ada sukses. Some of the best doctors in the world are Malays in IJN. Kan? Petronas is a FOB 500
oil and gas.
Siapa cakap Melayu tak boleh? Boleh. Tapi beri mereka peluang. You have to give them. So ada suksesnya. The failure of the NEP, rasa saya, this is the one. The failure of the NEP, it was not implemented fully.
Masih ada lagi ruang yang boleh lagi sukses kita.
Kalau diimplementasi dengan penuhnya, saya rasa kita tak ada masalah. Bukan tak adalah, kita less problem now to face racial problem. Sekarang, because every now, kalau diimplementasi dengan penuhnya, now sekarang masalahnya jadi income class dan asset class. No more race. Tak ada race lagi. Kalau you duduk di Petaling Jaya, si Acong duduk di Petaling Jaya dan si Anjuran sebenarnya, we are talking about the same level macam rumah di Taman Sara. It's not you Malay, I Chinese, tak ada. We are talking, it's the whole compound. So it's based on income class and asset class. You see, yang klasifikasi baru ni 20% T20, 40% M20 and 40% B40. So it's along that line. Tak ada lagi races. See, if he had employment implemented the DEB dengan sepenuhnya. So that was one failure. It was implemented half-heartedly,
Oh, okay.
not in full. Itu yang pertamanya. Yang keduanya, saya rasa di NEP, the problem of implementasi was not the fault of the theory or the implementation, is the fault of management problem.
Oh, dia masa implementasi.
Masa implementasi, management problem. Management problem ni you can buy expertise dari luar negeri. Dia orang kata the company run by Malays are failure, but it's a management problem. So that one can be corrected. Yang ketiganya, I think the Malay political leadership was dengan NEP dan tidak sangat begitu not 100% lah. Some of them scared.
Mungkin roh tu tak dapat di
Yeah,
political
I tak
kita
tahulah
tu.
macam mana.
Probably.
But dari luar negeri kita pandang itu dia tak diimplementasi dengan penuhnya. Ya.
Okey doktor, berbalik pada soalan sebelum ni saya tanya tadi.
Ya, satu lagi ya.
tentang,
Who benefited from the DB? And this is very important. The non-Malays benefited more than the Malays under NEP. Ini banyak orang tak tahu. Mengikut data-data 60 tahun yang keluar yang pada kita sekarang, the non-Malays got more. So not the Malays, although they say this is anti-China, no, it's not true. Proven by the facts. Now we are not living under British capitalism, but Chinese capitalism. Now, because they replace the British companies. More than 40% now are Chinese companies and then the Indian and Malays. But these are facts on the ground. Anybody can go to the statistics department, go Bank Negara, you can see this. World Bank study, IMF study, semua ada. It's confirmed, bukan saja kita cakap, orang lain cakap.
Okay, kami back to question sebelum ni yang saya tanya tu. Adakah ada tentangan semasa DEB ni digubal?
Oh banyak.
Ya.
Sampai sekarang.
Sampai sekarang pun ada. Bagaimana how does the panel apa nama orang kata rectify this?
We rectified this depends banyak factors lah, depends apa prime minister, itu political, if UMNO was very strong for the so many years, decades, kan? So this DEB policy is not fully accepted even by the younger Malays. Sebabnya the Malay intellectuals banyaklah Kamal Saleh semua, but it's not explained fully. Saya rasa sekarang pun banyak orang tak faham apa itu dasar ekonomi. Termasuk leadership kita, apa ni pucuk pimpin kita.
So, adakah doktor rasa DEB macam saya cakap tadi, in the nutshell, adakah doktor rasa DEB telah mencapai matlamatnya dan apa challenges kita di Malaysia sekarang lagi?
Challenges kita sekarang, kalau you tengok hari ni, tengoklah macam-macam sekarang. Sama macam 1969, lebih kurang lah. Bukan? We are talking generally, bukan? The Malays are disunited. Siapa kata? There are more Malay parties than Malays. Siapa cakap tu? Aku lupa. Economically, the Malays are at the bottom. Bukan? Disunited, tak ada political power, kurang political power. Jadi, the challenges are here today. You have to remake Malaysia according to a new formula yang sesuai dengan kedudukan sekarang. Tapi kita dah ada 60 tahun experience menghadapi soalan ini.
Perbezaan kita sekarang, dulu kita tak ada experience. Sekarang kita ada experience dan kita boleh
kita make better policy. Kita belajarlah daripada dasar yang kita dah buat ni. We have made so many mistakes. We have achieved so many successes, bukan?
Yes.
Now we are in a greater opportunity because the knowledge of national development is worldwide.
Yes.
We have internet, you have supercomputer, you press the telephone, you boleh tengok. Masa saya dulu dah kena type apa ni, pakai typewriter, klok-klok, tangan jari dia. Ya. Sekarang supercomputer, and more important, we have more than 20 universities including UiTM. Kan?
Yeah.
The Malay intellectuals sekarang ramai. There is a class of Malay intellectuals who are traveled, who have experience, who are exposed to degrees like you in UK and banyak all process. Yeah? So we are at a higher level of knowledge, technology, experience. We combine the best of all these things and make a new Malaysia based on the old. Kita dah ada foundationnya.
Resources kita dah ada
Resources.
banyak sekarang.
And we are a rich country. We are one of the richest countries in the world. According to the British Hansard di London, kan? Malaysia punya contribution to the British Empire was equivalent to 17 countries, yeah, 17 countries. Kita punya contribution.
Kita punya fortune kita very big.
Yeah? The richest tin field in the world, sini.
Yes.
The richest rubber producer in the world, di sini. One of the highest producers of oil and gas, di sini. Dari ini. And our oil is sweet oil, high quality oil. You know, how come with all these resources, we are left behind at the bottom? So these new people who are making this new policy must ask this question. Tanya soalan ini. We were one of the richest countries in the world, tetapi kita di bawah. Kita keluar minyak sama dengan Norway, same time. Saya bawa Petronas ke Norway, pergi ke North Sea, tengok dia punya apa ni platform dia macam mana. Norway sekarang is number 1 in the world. Number 1 according to UN.
Yes.
Yeah, UN. Semualah. That's apa ni data UN. Kita, we are here today. What went wrong? Where did all that money go? Petronas money, Petronas trillions of ringgit. You know, adalah jawab buat Putrajaya, but you know this is the situation. So all this thing has to be taken into account.
Tahun 2020 is a challenging year for us.
Ya, 2020.
2020 ni. Pertama kita dihit dengan apa nama kata? Coronavirus. The COVID-19. What is your opinion about this? Sebab saya rasa masa sepanjang COVID tu kita nampak banyak company-company yang terpaksa tutup. Dan ekonomi kita pun jatuh. Peluang pekerjaan sangat berkurang. What can you comment on this?
In a nutshell, the impact of the virus, the impact of this virus is negative on the Malaysian economy because it contracts all the sectors, most of the sectors contracts. GDP kita tidak begitu tinggi. Dia punya rate, dia punya kadarnya tidak begitu tinggi. Kalau kita banding dengan yang masa dululah. So the impact is contraction of the economy, contraction of the growth of the GDP, rise in mass unemployment, bankruptcies of companies. Yeah. So all these are negative impact. Maknanya the summary of that, the B40 itu mungkin akan jadi B60. Pasal banyak orang unemployed.
Kita jatuh
kalau you pergi ke DBKL flat itu kan, saya ada pergi, saya tengok dia menganggur. Macam mana naknya pergi pajak kedai? You tengok dalam surat khabar tu banyak pergi pajak kedai, pergi kedai nak ambil apa ni, nak bagi makan anak dan isteri, you know, support the family. The unemployment has increased tremendously, and this will continue for at least 2 or 3 years
To come.
in the future. So it's a bad situation, and because of that, criminal activities will increase. Macam di Damansara tu, very guarded, dah 3 kali
Breaking.
breaking. Baru-baru ni.
Okay. Seterusnya saya nak tanya, apa pendapat doktor mengenai roh DEB? I call it the soul of DEB, the foundation of DEB. Is it still relevant with us sekarang?
You see, you ask yourself, as a concerned Malay, is national unity relevant?
Yes, I would say so.
You would say so. Is poverty eradication relevant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is restructuring of society relevant?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the 3
Is
pillars.
world-class education system relevant? Yes. This, if you say yes to all this, so you must devise a policy like the NEP or the NEP. The NEP address all these policies directly, not indirectly. Directly, government intervention. Dalam dasar DEB itu, the role of the private sector was constricted a little bit. The government intervened on behalf of the poor because the price system is not a good allocator of resources.
Okay.
Because they are profit motivated, dia tak mau pergi projek yang tak ada profit. So the government intervene. Banyak government intervene, you see. So active government intervention is one of the instrument of dasar ekonomi baru on behalf of poor, on behalf of the national unity. Jadi soalan kalau saya pada pandangan saya sendiri, personal, my humble view, the DEB type of policy, the DEB type of policy,
Okay.
growth with equity, pro-poor growth, broad-based growth, Scandinavian model, this is still relevant until the situation is corrected to acceptable inequality, acceptable poverty, then kita buka semua. Then is free competition. Sebelum itu, the government must intervene on behalf of the poor. Di Norway pun, di Scandinavia pun begitu juga sampai sekarang. Di Finland misalnya. Di Finland saya rasa, kalau tak lupa saya, sekarang masa COVID ni bukan. Dia sekarang dibuat dasar UBI saya kata. UBI itu sister saya. Universal Basic Income. Every family, dia bagi RM1,000. Every family. Whether you're millionaire or whether you're poor, RM1,000. Ini example So bila you dapat tu, this one will give, they will spend the money and it will spin the economy up. Saya nak mengesyorkan di sini. Supaya that's the way to spin the economy from going this way to spin it up. Spin up. Yeah. This is accepted by UN apa semua.
Doktor sekarang berada di Norway. When you see Malaysia from distance, how do you feel?
Berbelahan lah. Saya rindu kampung, balik kampung. Tapi bila balik kampung, saya tengok cucu saya dah 3 tahun graduate daripada Mara, tak dapat kerja, melenting kalau saya. So mixed feelings lah. Negeri hujan mas negeri orang kan. Hujan batu negeri kita. Baik-baik negeri orang. The best is here. I'm still a Malaysian, and I will die a Malaysian.
Ya, insyaAllah. So semangat Malaysia, cinta Malaysia masih
ini negeri kita.
Okey. Kita akan beri laluan sedikit kepada iklan seterusnya. netizen kita. Last question saya kepada doktor. What is your wish to UiTM? Apakah harapan doktor pada UiTM untuk melestarikan usaha di IB kita ni?
Bagus, soalan ini bagus sekali. You see, MARA UiTM was formed under Article 153 of the Constitution. Nanti, kalau tak ada 153, tak ada
MARA
UiTM, tak ada MARA.
Ya.
Sebelum MARA tu RIDA, ingat tak?
Yes, betul.
Sebelum itu apa ke saya lupa ya, RIDA.
RIDA, it start with RIDA.
RIDA kan?
Then UiTM, then UiTM.
Yeah. And UiTM has done well. Congratulations lah. Macam Tun Arsyad, you as well. Congratulations. Kalau tak ada MARA, tak ada UiTM, there is no middle management in the country. You pergi mana-mana, you tanya semua MARA. MARA graduates. Yeah?
Yes.
Congratulations to you and continue that one. But saya, this is my personal feeling lah.
Yes.
Rasa saya, as you were born under Article 153, you must be the champion of Article 153. You tak boleh duduk diam di sini, beautiful library, but you must do Article 153. Kalau you tidak champion Article 153, siapa nak buat? So, rasa saya daripada sekarang, you have to take this challenge and remake new Malaysia.
Okay.
Tukar fikiran revolusi mental dulu kan. Tukar DB semua. The product of UiTM dengan universiti-universiti yang ada lah. Macam UKM semua. But the lead must be taken by UiTM. Otherwise, you berdosa. Because you are born under Article 153 and you lupa. Seronok sendiri kata orang Johor show sendiri. Tak? Rasa saya lah. Maaflah saya cakap kan kasar sikit. But you have to do, it's your duty. 153.
Okey, kita pergi kepada soalan yang ditanya oleh para netizen kita. Kita dapat soalan pertama daripada Maya Patel Puja. Multinational communities like in Malaysia are now facing many modernization problems, especially among the young generation. How will this DAB will overcome this type of problem if it continues? Maksud dia, kalau multinational community like Malaysia, kita menghadapi modernization. Bagaimana kita nak hadapi isu ini?
I think, rasa saya lah, jawapan saya. In my humble view, personal view, all Malaysians are facing modernization.
Correct.
Not only this is all Malaysians. Malaysians, because we are moving into
Globalization.
Industry 5, Industry 4.5, information technology, digital economy of the future. These are the new economy. Wealth creation in the future will be based on technology, on science, molecular technology,
nanotechnology,
computer revolution. Tengok sekarang, you angkat phone, that's right, supercomputer. Every one of you is carrying a supercomputer. That computer has more power than the rocket that carried the first man on the moon. You see? So we are all facing this. And to me, in my humble view, is we have to reorganize our educational system to be world-class, to face these challenges that are in front of us. That's what Singapore is doing. The future is brain power, smart farming, smart fishery, aquaponic. These are all new farming. Balik kampung, saya tanam kelapa macam biasa, tak boleh dah sekarang. You see? So we are all facing the same problem, is to create employment
based on
based on this
technology.
new system as much as possible. The old ways don't work anymore.
Yes.
Singapore, to me lah, I'm a graduate of University of Singapore, that is the best educational system in the world according to the Economist magazine 2018. So what we have to do is we take a bus and go and stay there a few days and learn how they do it. Maybe we can learn from them. Ya, tak payahlah pergi Finland apa semua.
Ya, dekat je
Dekat aja.
Singapura.
Naik bas saja pergi sana.
Okey, itu jawab soalan yang pertama. Seterusnya soalan kedua daripada Aizuddin Radwah. Bagaimana DEB membantu membangunkan pendalaman Sabah dan Sarawak? This is how DEB help the Sabah Sarawak. Kerana pasca 63 kemerdekaan, wilayah Sabah dan Sarawak masih kurang membangun. What can you comment on that?
You see, I must say, 69, in 69, I remember we were discussing this. Tan Sri Ghazali Arwah, Tan Sri Ghazali Shafi kept saying, Sarawak, Sabah, Sarawak in the plan. From there, at that time.
Oh, at that time, 1970 dia dah.
Masa kita discuss, Sabah, Sarawak, don't forget Sabah, Sarawak. So, because the Bumiputra community, including orang asli, including the native orang asli kita, dan termasuk saya sendiri, we are the lowest, the most poverty-stricken. Saya pergi sekolah kaki ayam. Bawa sampan apa semua tempat tu. Hujan, lecak jalan sini. So the native, the Bumiputra of Sabah are not the only one who are suffering like we are suffering. We are together. And all the Malaysia plans include Sabah and Sarawak. All the 5-year plan, from first 5-year plan sampai sekarang, Sabah and Sarawak, in fact, Sabah and Sarawak got priority to bring up the poor. Itu yang buat solar system gitu gini apa tu, YBhg apa semua tu kan, the new penipis air, apa nama dok? Penipis air, tangki air sungai yang kotor tu, so that the water is clean for drinking, for mandi. Macam di kampung saya, tahu sistem water filtration. You see? So Sabah and Sarawak, in fact, were higher than here, given more attention, started by Razak apa semua lah, but particularly arwah Tun Ghazali Shafi. He was the man who really pushed. Kali-kali kita bincang, don't forget Sabah.
Okey, ada soalan daripada penonton kita ke di hadapan? Kita ambil tadi daripada ni Facebook dengan live kita. In case ada soalan daripada penonton kita yang berada di hadapan. Okey, kalau tak ada saya nak tanya juga, Dr. Rais. DEB ni bagi saya ia adalah satu dasar yang menyeluruh. Cuma somewhere along the line mungkin kita tak implement secara fully yet. Betul. Tetapi pada pakar-pakar ekonomi sekarang, saya rasa mereka perlu melihat semula the soul of the DEB ni. And saya rasa soul ni masih boleh dipenuhi lagi. Boleh dipenuhi. And pada academician seperti universiti, kita dah ada platform. Kita ada platform ramai yang bijak pandai. Dan saya rasa untuk seterusnya ilmuwan kita ni perlu diberi lebih peluang untuk bersuara atau terlibat dalam dasar ni. Kalau masa dulu pakar ekonomi, mungkin sekarang kita boleh dapat lebih input daripada rakyat. Adakah ini juga dilakukan di Norway contohnya?
Di Norway, I cannot answer that, but I can
Ya.
answer one thing. I was taught by my professor di Washington, daripada Israel, ya. Profesor saya banyak dari Israel. Dan Profesor Fallon, dia kata, those who write win.
Oh,
Those who write win. Kita, now, sekarang kita ada intellectuals, begitu ramai intellectuals, Melayu apa semua. You must write. You must discuss. But not only discuss, kita ngobrol sama-sama kita saja. You must write based on scientific research methodology, on research data, big data. Yeah? Maknanya your study is based on facts. Pragmatic, policy-oriented study or intellectual study. Sekarang, zaman sekarang, boleh semua. Because the Malays are the intellectuals
the
level,
Malaysians,
all
general,
Malaysians,
eh?
yeah.
The all Malaysian.
Right, you win. Who right, win. Itulah pesanan my professor. And the other thing is this, satu lagi soalan tadi apa macam mana?
Tak, itu saja.
Itu saja, ya.
Kita mendapat soalan daripada audien kita.
Yeah.
Sila.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to listen from the horse's mouth about this DEB. And I need your comment about comparing DEB initiative with similar initiative or any other economic development opportunities initiative in other parts of the world.
Say that again, please.
Can you comment the difference or similarities about other similar economic development initiatives with the other parts of the world?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You see, as I said in the beginning tadi kan, there were two competing school of thoughts, the theory. Yang one was the neoliberal economic theory and policies, sponsored by the Washington Consensus. Washington DC lah, basically, dia punya model. Britain, UK, semua, that one. The other one is what we call here DNU, but it is an alternative development concept developed by the UN and system like Nordic countries, the Norway, the Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Holland, the New Zealand, Australia pun begitu. This is alternative. This one is open market, free competition. What do you call everybody for himself and God for us all. Pulang pada you lah.
Yes.
Mati hidup you punya pasal lah.
Yes.
You see? And this kind of policy has been corrected now. It's being corrected, started with President Clinton. President Clinton kata, this kind of policy is becoming irrelevant because the minority was getting richer and richer and the poorer became poorer and poorer. Jadi President Clinton tukar ni sistem itu, followed by President Obama. Dia punya, you baca, look at the internet, you baca dia punya Obama punya policy. Datang siang Allah ni. So now the Trump ni, back to that policy, everybody himself and God for us all. So that's where they are now. But this side, it continues with growth and equity at the same time. And Norway is so, in the last 5 years, New Zealand, number one in the world, according to the UN data. UN indicators, UNDP study. These are the right system for everybody in the society, not only for the elite.
Okay.
Because this one leads to riot and political instability. You can see in many countries, di Afrika kan. Kita 1969
Yes.
di Afrika, South Africa. Yeah. So South Africa datang dia punya delegasi datang kemari ke EPU PM Department to study what they call the Malaysian model of development. Zimbabwe datang kemari, South Africa, Namibia semua. Orang datang, Fiji pun ada datang kemari. They study in the EPU. It's all on the records. You see? So, in terms of justice, UN punya charter apa semua, this type of policy is more relevant than free enterprise. Maybe your growth is down a little bit, but the result of the DEB after so many years was one of the fastest in the world. Dia orang kata, oh, we implement the DEB, kalau kita implementasikan dasar ekonomi baru ni, ekonomi kita akan jatuh. It's not right. Ekonomi kita grew at one of the fastest in the world for a long time, sustained basis. These are all facts. You can check.
Okay, with that, other question, okay?
Ya, saya Hasan, anak didik UiTM, kerja sini 8 tahun dan keluar 28 tahun yang lepas. Sekarang balik semula selepas pencen, balik semula berjasa pada UiTM. I got a very sensitive question, short but sensitive. Pandangan doktor tentang akhir-akhir ni kita mendengar cadangan untuk membuka UiTM kepada non-bumi seperti MRSM. Apa pandangan doktor? Adakah dia memberi kesan yang mendalam kepada apa yang kita rancang dalam DEB?
Saya dah di luar negeri beberapa puluh tahun, ya. You know what I
Yes, more than 30 years.
more than 30 years. This, you see, in order to decide, okay, which way or this way, you have to have full facts on both sides. Not propaganda, not sentiment,
not politically
not political.
pressured.
Facts. But the baseline is Malaysia, the best for all Malaysians. You know, kalau kita diam sendiri di kampung kita sendiri aja, kita bergaul sama kita sendiri pun tak seronok juga. Kena jumpa orang macam saya di sini dan di sana, bukan? Kerana ada advantages and disadvantages. Ya, balik ke sana teringat sini, balik sini teringat sana, bukan? Balik sana apa ni?
Rindu makanan
Rindu sambal belacan, bukan? Sana tak dapat sambal belacan, bukan? Tapi sana ada salmon. Jadi begitu, ya. It's the consensus lah. You have to take the consensus view. Rasa saya lah. That's my humble view. It's not one man right, you know. It's not. It's consensus view.
Okay,
Discussion. Macam di Sweden, bukan? Macam di Switzerland, they want to put a new policy. They put a referendum. Semua orang ada suara. You put a referendum.
Okey, Dr. Rais, kita pun sebenarnya di akhir penghujung rancangan dah. Okey, alhamdulillah kita sudah sampai di akhir program. Untuk kesimpulannya, bagi saya untuk kesimpulannya, matlamat DAB yang mulia iaitu mengurangkan dan memasmi kemiskinan dan mempercepatkan penyusunan semula ekonomi negara Malaysia masih belum tercapai sepenuhnya. Belum adalah diharapkan dengan pemahaman dari wacana kita dengan Dr. Rais sebentar tadi dapat dijadikan panduan oleh para ilmuwan negara kita dalam merancang strategi ekonomi yang lebih kukuh dan mampan lagi untuk Malaysia yang kita cintai. Justru itu, sekian dulu bicara tokoh buat kali ini. Saya sudahi dengan ucapan Assalamualaikum. Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih banyak jemput saya.
Saya serah semula majlis kepada MC kita.